Hey, welcome back to the Mindshare podcast. This show is sponsored by Kit's Keep in Touch Systems, a two-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals. Gray Media, Ontario's premier social media management, marketing, and content creation company. And REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals. Be sure to check out our sponsors and what they have to offer on our site, mindshare101.com. And a big thank you to start off today. We've been seeing a big push from our listeners to leave a review about the show. And well, that's you. And it's really awesome to see such positive feedback. You are what fuels me to keep this going. And your reviews mean the world to me. If you haven't yet, could you please take a moment to rate and leave a review of the show? We've made it really simple to connect to any one of your favorite podcast platforms. Just go to ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Speaking of reviews, one of the strategies that we teach our one-to-one coaching clients is about how to build a referral machine, how to drive ongoing business leveraging a specific system so you have an ongoing source of business flowing your way all the time. Check this out. In just 180 days, Marty increased her referral business from 11% to 83% by implementing these strategies. And in less than 90 days, Krista increased her referral business by 88% and made the top 10 list in her brokerage. Everyone has something they want to improve on, including me and including you. And that's exactly why you're listening to me right now, isn't it? So you find value, you've learned something, you enjoy investing your time here with me. And for that, you should be proud of you. And I also want to thank you, obviously, for seeing the value. I mean, I work hard to deliver it, and I really enjoy it. I like helping people succeed, and I want to continue to help you succeed. The talks, the trainings, the videos, this podcast, and our one-to-one coaching, they're all for you. If we haven't talked coaching together yet, connect with me. Think about how much further we can go on this journey together with a custom-made system and strategy for you. Learn more about our one-to-one coaching by visiting my site, mindshare101.com, and clicking on Coaching. Today's episode is number 217. He is the owner of Fratelli Salon in Thornhill, Ontario, and a true entrepreneur at heart. Beyond just being a diehard Raptors fan, a father, and a husband, his love and passion for his industry is above all else, and his work is proof of how much he is devoted to establishing himself within it. He and his team are committed to providing their clients with the best experience possible, saying that their customer service is the front runner of their business, striving to create a family-oriented establishment that feels like home. Joining me on this episode of the Mindshare podcast is master stylist and owner of Fratelli Salon, Angelo. Marco, welcome to the Mindshare podcast.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see what this is all about. And, I've been hearing it for a long time by you. And I'm actually pretty honored that you actually asked me to come on here. So I hope we can blast off each other right now. That's for sure.
Absolutely, bro. Listen, it's an honor that you made some time. I know you're sincerely, I know you're super busy, and I know that the middle of a day and a work day to pull you away and pull you out of the salon, it's a big one, but I thank you for doing that. And dude, as I was just saying, everybody, we've known each other a long time now. And like when we really put our heads together, we've probably known each other like more than half our lives at this point, which is,
yeah.
I want to think we're young, but I don't think we're that young.
No, we're not.
Anymore still, right? You're the only person who's cut my hair in over that time. By the way, how's everything look today? We okay?
It looks great, buddy. But you always look good. I tell you that. You always look good. I tell you that.
My hair, right? But hey, like for everybody, like this guy was at my wedding. It's been a long time, but look, on this show, we've always focused on sales and marketing. Okay, we've always been here to try to help, business owners, entrepreneurs, realtors, anybody in business, learn how to build a hell of a lot more mind share so they can get more market share. And what's really cool about this interview today is that because we've known each other so long, we've been able to watch each other grow. Right? We've been alongside with each other at like a lot of different junctures. And you're always coming up with different ideas, creative ways to sort of grow your business and sort of take yourself to your next level. And for everybody, like this guy's a business owner who's always, always, always coming up with new creative ways to win. And he's never, Mark, this is what I give you, bro. And I tell you this all the time, but you've never veered away from the goal of opening your own salon. I remember that one.
Never.
And I guess the first question there would be, how long ago was it that you did open Fratelli's?
Fratelli's was open. We're going on our 13th year. And for us, that's, yeah. And for us, you know, it's a success because like, you know, everyone that's older than you at least tells you, and who is in business or who is an entrepreneur, they're always telling you, look, if your business could last 10 years and you know you've got a good one, you know you've got a horse, you know you got a machine. So for some reason, the 10-year mark was my scariest one because I'm like, okay, where are we right now? Did we do good? Are we good? I don't know. How do I compare myself to good? What is good? But, you know, when I look around and I'm saying, you know, from where we were when we first opened up to like a 500 square foot salon to a 2,500 square foot salon that we're at right now, that to me was a sign of growth. And I always tell people, you want to grow, you can't be afraid to fail on your next step of growing because you know where you're at works. Your next step, you don't know. But if you don't take it, you're never going to know. So we always tend to work like that. I always tend to tell like my brothers, you know, especially, I'm like, you know, we're here right now. But you want to go up there? It's scary as hell, man. It's scary. We look at each other like, you seriously want to do this? And then we're like, look, we know we can do this where we're at right now. If we don't try that, we're never going to know where we are, right? And it's just like, you know, like we were talking before about that goalpost. It just keeps going further and further. You reach it, but then you want another one and you want to do another field goal. And it's just, you know, I don't know. I don't know when it's going to stop, but right now you just ride it.
Would you say, I love that. Would you say that when you got to that 10-year mark or being 13 years now and being able to look back at the 10-year mark and kind of the advice that people gave of like, if you could last 10 years, you've been successful. Would you agree with it? Like being, let's say 3 years removed from that, or is it that thing of almost what we were talking about before and you just brought it up? Like, I don't even know.
I find like it takes harder. It's harder. It's actually more work now because what happens is you're now 13 years older and are you relevant to society and what the world is doing? And, you know, we had to jump, especially like, you know, I don't want to bring it up, but the pandemic, what the hell we had to do in order to, well, you know, like we had to transition like everybody else, but we had to transition big time. And it's crazy because like we transitioned and then we transitioned back, but then we transitioned back with like some new things. And so it's a matter of like, honestly, keeping up with the times, like social media. Like, you know me, I don't, what am I supposed to do with social media? Like I pay someone to do my social media because I'm like, I don't do social media, but I know it's important. So if I have to spend the money to get it done, to keep my business relevant, you know, I'm going to spend the money. And it's, you know, it's something as simple as like with yourself right now, right? You know, like everybody I've sent your way always called me back and like, buddy, thank you so much, man. This guy was awesome. He's helped me out a lot. And it's because you're keeping relevant for your market. And it's the real estate people that have to understand that and say, wait a second here. You know, instead of me putting my sign on the back of a bus, maybe this guy's got another marketing tool. And it's a matter of just, hey, you got to spend the money to make money, right? So, you know, I have a lot of clients that are real estate agents. I'm like, you got to call this guy right now because he's going to tell you where to go. Because I hear their cries. I hear they're like, oh, I'm not really busy right now. I don't know what to do. I'm like, what? Follow this guy. Do what this guy's doing because he's been successful. Here's proof. Call these 5 guys that I sent him. And so, you know what I mean? I do the same thing, but with people that have been in my industry. But the problem is some people that have been in my industry for a long time, I respect them, but their ways of thinking of making business and doing business, they're a little bit dinosaurish in that aspect. Like they don't know the social media tools. They don't know a lot of that stuff. So it's like, you know, when you're sitting at a table with old men and like, you don't know nothing. I'm at that point in my life, I'm like, no. You actually don't know nothing. Sit down. I know you're wise, but sit down and let me teach you something you may not know, right? And that's how I kind of portray my industry. Like everyone tries to follow, like, you know, when they say the next trend. What next trend? There's no trend. It's a simple fact that there's influencers. So for this 3 months, this influencer is going to be the big thing. Next 3 months, that influencer is going to be the big thing. And this is what the kids are doing. They're following all that stuff, right? And I have to make sure I'm on that, right? And it's a matter of me being, the owner of a salon, listening to my 18-year-old assistant saying, you know what, we do this a lot and we do it. And I'm like, oh, really? So my ears are wide open now, as opposed to when I was assistant, it was like, shut up, sit there, listen and learn. It's not like that no more. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's that part of
No,
it.
you know what? I hear you in a big way. And I think you bring up a real good point there, because as we talked about, and the way you even said it there, and we were saying before we got on air as well, like this whole path to success is always loaded with failure, right? There's
Mm.
always so much failure. And every single time you try something different, it's like, even to what you're bringing up with social media right now, right? Trying video or trying different things, or, and we'll talk about the contest. We'll talk about all that stuff in a few minutes here. It's you're trying something and you think it's the right way to go about it. The only way to find that out is to actually try. And then when you try, there's a good chance you're going to fail at it. And then what you're going to end up learning is that there's actually another way to do it that's better. But if I hadn't tried and I hadn't failed, I wouldn't have grown. And I mean, that's something that
Definitely.
I've seen in you this whole way through. Like, how here you just mentioned about the 500 square foot place. So everybody, if people don't know, Fratelli's, what does it stand for?
And it stands for brothers in English. So in
Right.
Italian, it stands for
Okay.
brothers. Sorry.
Right. And Marco was there, and I know, at least from my side of things, there's been Marco's dream for years. But now you've got Danilo's there, your brother, you got Luca who's there, your brother. There's some other family members that are there, on top of a whole whack of other staff that are there, from at the front desk to, stylists, to people who take care of, the beards, and people who wash the hairs. And I mean, how many people do you have over there now?
I always get asked that question, and I always got to sit down and think about it. Like we're roughly, yeah, honestly, because I throw renters in there and stuff. We're about 24, 25 people, and maybe like 15 of them are active hairdressers, and then you got your assistants, your the front desk is the most important thing, period. And yeah, we're
Pat's
about, yeah,
amazing.
say between.
Big shout outs to Pat.
Oh man, Pat's
Oh,
Pat's are, yeah, and that's the other thing, right? You're doing great right now, right? You're doing amazing as a business, but nobody lives forever. Nobody stays around forever. So you have to adapt somewhat fast sometimes, and you always have to have. I always tell people who own business, you gotta have a plan B, because you just don't know who's gonna wake up in the morning. Like every morning, I wake up. Okay, what's next? What's today gonna do for me? So it's like you got to appreciate where you're at, but you also have to be ready for, what if, my receptionist Pat one day comes to me and says, "Look, I can't work here no more. I gotta figure something else out. I gotta have a plan B." You know what I mean? And you have to
yeah.
appreciate what their value is for you right now as an owner, because you still wish them, in the end. Listen, when the door's closed, they're your friends. You want to make sure their lives are good and they're doing good, right? But I also understand I'm in a situation where my business itself is actually taking care of, like, 20 families, 20 mortgages, 20 car payments. So as much as I need them, they need me, and together this is how we build. We mind share inside my own salon, and that's exactly how it goes about doing it, right?
Listen, team is absolutely massive, and I think there was a real good realization right there for anybody that owns a business, for anybody that is even looking to build a team around their sales world. The thing to understand, and Marco just said it, right? You've got your team working for you, but really they're working with you, and at the same time, you're working for them. You're working with them, whether you're the owner or you're not. That's how teams succeed. Now, just looking at some of the things you just said there, take me back for a minute. What year was it when you were working at that other place upstairs where I first met you? Like how long ago was that?
Oh my God, that was like, I'm going to be on my 26th year right now. So I was 18. So we have to be,
18.
yeah, man. Well, like probably like 26 years
Dude,
ago. Let's go 25 years. Yeah, man.
dude.
From your
Okay. So
wedding to
I
your,
remember, and I mean, my mom used to go there and get her hair cut, and that's where, like, she booked me an appointment with this other stylist, and I remember being there. And then it was like you and I bumped into each other while we were there. And, I just got to tell everybody, I mean, it was love at first sight, right? Like,
yeah, you know
from
what? It's
that day,
crazy.
though, dude.
We kind of had the same. We were both young, both wanting to go somewhere, and still, we sit there 25 years later, and we still have those conversations we had 20 years ago, where we want to
That's what
be,
I'm saying.
where we're at, and you know what? It keeps happening. It's just now we form more of a definitely a big trust, big friendship. Like, when people say, I was told like, okay, remember, let's go back to when I was an assistant. Shut up and
Yep.
listen. Just learn. Do this. Don't
Yep.
do that. Don't
Yep.
do that. And there were a lot of things I'm thinking, wait a second. Why can't I be friends with this person? Why can't I do business with them if they're bringing me business? Those are things that I'm now reteaching at a different level, saying, no, 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 no. If you have something with a client and they're bringing you business, I gladly want to give you business. I gladly want to network my network with your network. And these are things when I meant about dinosaurs, these older guys, like I respect them and all, but I was always told never do business with your clients. Never talk personal. How can't I talk personal when I have someone come into my chair every 2 weeks? They're going to ask me how my kids are
Okay,
doing.
hold on. I'm
How's
going
my
to say
life doing?
that too, right? So first off, that all of that learning that you've done is a testament, okay, and I watch Michael and I watch Daniel and I even watch Luca, who to me were the younger dudes that stepped in at some point with you, and I've watched their growth. And I know that has to do is a byproduct of what you've taught them and how you operate in that place. Now, as you think about, sort of those plans and those goals, I remember back when we had first met, you'd said to me, you said, Dave, when am I going to have my own salon?
Mhm.
One day I'm going to do it. And you had this goal, dude. You've never, ever wavered into to that. I tell you all the time. I mean, I'm saying it publicly for everybody else to understand, but like I tell this guy all the time, I'll walk in there. I love seeing this place busy because I remember it when it was an idea and it's just so wicked. Now to get strategic for people here, you had that goal. You then decided to actually action that goal. And what I'm curious to
Mm.
know is what was it in your mind that finally said to you, okay, it's time to take the step. I've been thinking about it. I want it. I know we're getting there, but like it's time. And again, I'm generalizing this a little bit in the sense where anybody that's tuned in right now can almost picture that and go, yeah, I got that thing that I want to do. I've just never done it. Mark, how did you know it was time to do it?
Because when we first met and I said I was going to open up a business, you got to remember, I don't come from a background of like business school and all that stuff. So for me, it's like, you're an Italian boy, you go to high school, you get into this business and you're saying, okay, this is a great business, this is what I want to do. So I needed to understand first, I had to prepare myself in the sense where I had to leave the salon I was at because at that point I was getting paid a salary and I understood how that went. And then I had to leave to get into a commission based situation where I had to learn the taxes and everything on commission based. And then from there, I went to do a 2-3 year as a rental and I was renting and I had to understand that. And the reason why I did all those moves was to know when I have my own salon, I'll know the situation I'm in when I have someone come in saying, hey, I want to rent from you, or hey, I want a commission off you, or I want to do commission and salary. I didn't want to act stupid. I need to prepare myself first. So it's just like, entering any sort of jogging race. You're going to go on the treadmill for 5-6 months before you even race. I did that for years. And, I got fortunate enough that my younger brother, Danilo, decided to, move his life into the hair industry. And at that point, I remember he came to work. I mean, we tell the story all the time. He came to work with me for 1 week.
I remember this
And
too. Yeah.
yeah. And I said, I'm looking at him and during the week and I'm thinking to myself, wait a second here. If me and you stay in the same salon, we ain't never going to get busy the way we should be. So I said, you know what? I told him, quit this salon. You're going to go work somewhere else. Work somewhere else near the area in the city. Obtain your clientele. I'll obtain mine. When you hit certain numbers and you hit those numbers for 6 months straight, that means now it's time to open up a salon. So it just so happened that at the time he was there and I went looking. And before my brother, I had another guy I was going to go do partnerships with. That fell through. Then I had another guy going and that I just didn't trust it. I wasn't like, wait, I don't know. I don't like the way this feels. And, you could always, it's family. People say, never do business with family. I don't believe that at all. I think you do business with family because especially blood. Yes, there are circumstances where, you got to hash things out. But as brothers, as long as you don't involve anybody else and it's just you two, no wives, no kids, just you two, you hash it out. You argue, you do what you got to do. But in the end, we're going to go sit down, have a nice bottle of wine, eat a plate of pasta, and we're going to say, we're brothers. This is what we do. But that happened. And you know what? I got lucky. I got lucky with the salon. I paid out of my ass for it. I really did. But
Yep.
location is
Yep.
key. And that was probably the best move we ever made. I mean, like, people look at it sometimes and they're like, geez, look what you got, man. You got this, you got that. And I'm thinking to myself, you got no clue what I do on a daily. People think, oh, I'm going to open up my own salon. You got no clue what I have to do every single day and work behind the chair at the same time. You just don't understand it. So, do I specialize in one thing, and do I specialize? You know what? I have people in my salon that I believe are better at things than I am. And when it comes to doing hair, but it's the operation day to day running the salon. I don't believe there's not one person in my salon that can do what I'm doing. And that's the problem with salon owners. A lot of them are selfish. And what I mean by selfish, a new client walks in. No, I'll keep the client, because what are they afraid of? They're afraid of the hairdresser getting so busy, they're going to leave and they're going to open up their own place or do their own rental thing, right? I'm not like that. And
And
I
you could look
prepared
at that
myself.
in it. Yeah. And you could look at it in any world, right? I mean, I know in the real estate world, as people are building teams and, they bring in people to work with them. There's that fear of, oh, what happens if they leave? Again, it's about creating the right environment, right? And you create
You
an
got to
environment that
create the
people want
right
to be a part of.
environment. I also believe you, like, again, for this has worked for me. I'm not saying it's got to work for anybody, but I
Mhm.
also believe you got to reward people in a sense where it's like, okay, look, maybe you don't have what it takes to be an owner or an equity partner of mine, but you have what it takes to be very busy. So you know what? Here's the extra money for you because you deserve it. And that's the problem. You got to make people feel like they're not tied down into a job, that they feel that they have a little bit of freedom with respect of your rules of any industry you have, right? So that's the thing. I've always promised my promises I make, I fully keep them. And a lot of the marketing tools I do, I'm not trying to market my salon to like make sure it's like this. I'm marketing who's inside the salon. And it's when
Mhm.
they realize that they become busier. So it's like, I know, let's say Fratelli's were to shut down tomorrow. I know that I could put a chair in my garage and I'm still going to be just as busy as I was yesterday with the salon or not. So for me, a lot of the stuff I do is for them. It's not necessarily
Oh,
for
you're
me.
screwed. I'm
You know
not
what I
going
mean?
anywhere. Like when you're like shaking one day, like old, and we're both like old and gray, and
Oh,
I've got
God
like maybe
forbid.
one hair coming out of my head. I'm still coming over for you to
uh,
trim the one hair.
my
But
son.
here, talk about challenges for a second, right? So like we're opening a business, we're leading a team. We've decided to take this step. There's all these things going on. What would you say when it comes to challenges? You know,
All right, I got that.
what was the
I would
biggest,
say
right?
biggest is things you don't know. So when you don't know something, you need to get or hire someone that does. And what I mean by that is, we're horrible with payroll. I have no clue of remittance. I mean, I'm learning. I've learned through the
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
but I said to my brother, like, how do we do this? Well, we're going to hire a company. We're going to pay that company to do our payroll, and that's what we've done for the last 12 years. So things like that. Obtaining the lawyer. The lawyer knows a lot of things. An accountant. The accountant knows how to veer you in the right direction. And that's the stuff we use because not every industry has the same write-offs, has the same, none of that stuff. So it comes to that, like doing hair itself or running a salon or, coming up with marketing ideas, that stuff just you blast off each other. But it's those inside things, how to handle a client when they're not happy, or, you get your HSD rebate back and you're like, whoa, what the hell do we do now? Where do I get the money to come up with this? And it's all those little planning things you need to do. And a lot of people are afraid of that stuff. So I have this saying, I've said it on every podcast I've been on or TV. Fear is FEAR. Face everything and rise. And that's exactly what I do. I live by that. And there's moments where I'm really scared and I have my stomach turns. And I got to say to myself, are you going to let the stomach keep turning or are you going to look at it and just go for it and we'll see what happens? And when let's say a good marketer, and then from there, I might feed off that marketer and say, oh, they just popped 100 ideas in my head. And that's where the network comes. And that's where I find that is the biggest thing is networking. I think it's networking right now should be as valued as gold. That's simple. And if you value gold,
You
you'll
know,
value the understanding of network.
I was going to bring that up. And you already mentioned it a few minutes ago there about, and I'm super grateful about of course, the relationship we have together. Um, just as importantly, or not, I wouldn't say just as importantly, I'd say one of the byproducts of that relationship is the fact that we've got real trust in each other and our abilities, and not just as friends who can lean on each other, but we've watched each other grow through professional. We've been able to, send each other clients, like, I mean, handfuls and handfuls of clients over the years. And it's funny because everybody listening, and I've said this so many times, and many of you have heard me say this, but, I always ask, is your hairdresser on your list, right? Your contact list. People look and they think, oh, I don't know, but my hairdresser knows a lot of people. I'm like, think about all the things you sit in a chair and talk to your hairdresser about. I'm like, don't tell me what those are right now, because you know those types of conversations. And Mark, well, you for sure know the types of conversations and what people talk to you about. But here's what happens is, in relationships, you get to know people better. And you and I have over the years been able to do that with each other, where we've been able to say, we trust each other so much. You meet a realtor, as you said before, you have no doubt, no thought, no second thought around sending them my way, because we're going to take care of them. And for the amount of people that have come back and said to you, hey, thank you. And it's the same thing. And I've shared this story many, many times on stage about you and I and that relationship, because it's the same thing. You were just telling me the other day about somebody, like a friend of mine that I know, where I coach his son in hockey, and he's a client of yours. I didn't even know he's a client of yours. And you're like, yeah, he literally came to me because of one of your Instagram posts. And I know the guy.
Exactly.
I just happened to speak to him on the phone the other day. I know one of my guys from baseball comes to you now, right? Because he was following me on, watching me come there. And all of that is power of marketing, the mind share, the branding, but most importantly, the relationship. The establishment of trust. Like, how big of a driver is that for you? And not even just with me, but I'm talking with people. What can people learn from that right now? Because I think that I really truly believe that people, they hesitate to have that conversation. They try to remain introverted, even though maybe they know they need to talk to people. But there is the fear, like you said, there's the fear of opening up a conversation and trying to put in the effort to have a relationship. But that's where the gold is.
Look, I honestly, I say this to my brothers. I say this to everybody. Everywhere you go, you can't sit in the room and stay quiet. You have to talk to everybody. You got to talk to everybody. And it doesn't matter. Like, some guys will say, when, go to the salon. Well, I have no hair. What are they going to do at the salon? It's not a matter of you have no hair. Go get your beard shaved anywhere you want. You're going into a business that has so much network that it can feed off you. You can feed off it. A gym, some people, I don't want to go to the gym. Just get a damn membership just to go walk on the treadmill, say hi to people. If you're going to be that deadbeat that sits at home thinking, let me just post, you know what happens? You start becoming one of these guys. I'm going to look at your post and okay, scroll. If you don't go out there and you don't actually one-on-one by person, you're a fucking robot. And who wants to talk to a robot? Nobody. I want to talk to a person. So I travel a lot to Aruba. You know that about me. And when I go there, the connections I make, like my wife's like, my kids like, Dad, how come you always talk? And now they're doing it. And I tell them, you talk to everybody. Whatever apple you pick from that tree is going to be eaten, but one of it's going to be rotten. You throw it away. There's a million other apples out there. So,
well, that's the key, though. You got to try a ton of those apples to know, right, which one's going to be good.
Yeah, man. And you know what? Like, I always say this, sometimes your mouth is a talent, just like your hands, and you got to use it. And it's not just your brain. Like, you got to, and especially when you're talking to people, some people are going to look at you and they're going to think, okay, you know what, man, this guy's kind of full of shit, until they actually see, wow, he's actually not full of shit. He knows what he's doing. Maybe I'm going to hook up with this guy. And it could be something simple. Like, when I say salon is a network, the salon industry, or your salon or your barbershop, whatever it is, man, you need a plumber, I got one on the call. You need an electrician, I got one on the call. You need a painter, I got one on the call. You need a household, boom, I got a real estate agent. There's so much networking that's involved, and it's just by connecting dots. And this is what I mean by it being gold. And there's a lot of times where, like, a painter just some side cat. Like, no, I don't want to. And I'm there. Did you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm there.
You cut out for a second.
Oh, so I was saying, like, sometimes they want to give you a kickback, and sometimes it's not about having a kickback. It's just about saying, look, I introduced you to Dave. Do me a favor, just take care of Dave. That's all I want from you. Don't be stupid with him. And then that relation starts. And now, a painter's coming to your house, but the painter comes to your house saying, man, I got a cousin that needs a house sold. Maybe I'm going to hook up with him, because, like, the little traction that can cause this big thing in longevity is what people keep forgetting about. It's just like a stock market. You see something, you like it, you sit on it. It's not fast money. Nothing's fast money these days. If you want to have fast money, you do like OnlyFans type of situation. That's fast money. But how
It's
real is that?
Yeah, no. But you bring up a great point. I mean, look, I was at the gym today. I worked out, and I think I spoke to. I'm probably missing a couple, but maybe 5, 6 people there. And now remember, I'm going in there. I got earbuds in both ears. I got my book playing in my ear while I'm doing my workout. I got 60 minutes from the time I get on the treadmill to warm up to the time I get off the treadmill for my cool down with my lifting in between. Okay. So I don't have a lot of time to sit there and chit chat. I mean, there's some guys there, like you could go there at 9 o'clock and they're there, and you could go there at 9 o'clock at night and they're still there. I don't get it. They spend their entire day there. I can't do it. I got 60 minutes. That said, though, yes, I wear my hat, but I don't put my head down. I say what's up to the faces that I see on a regular because they see me too. So there's two ways you can go about it. I can look at you and pretend that you're a total stranger, even though I've seen you for the God knows how many days in a row over the past number of months, right? I could look at you and just pretend we don't know each other, or we could say, "Hey, what's up?" And then a little fist pump, and then all of a sudden the next day we're talking a little bit more, and the next day we're talking a little bit more. Next thing you know, you're making the chit chat with people, right?
You
So
want
I
to
mean,
know
the gym is
something?
a beautiful note. Yeah,
You want to know something? See how you just said you just go in and say hello or hi, and
yeah,
that could go on like
yeah,
6, 7, maybe 10 times. Okay, so I
yeah,
prove something to my staff, and it's funny you're saying this. I'm going to tell you why what you're saying right now is 100% dead on. There,
yeah.
where I'm located, there's a big window and there's a Starbucks, right? So
Hold
a
on.
lot
I
of
was just
people
going to
come.
say that. I was just going to say that. I was just going to bring that up and hold on. Let me piggyback on that because just before you get into that, so everybody knows this guy's chair is at the front of the salon. Okay. And it's not because,
Yes,
again, like he already said, he wants to grab everybody. He doesn't do that. But Marco, whether they're your client or they're not your client, I'm talking sitting in your chair or not, you say what's up to everybody. You
every
laugh with
single body.
everybody. You joke with everybody. Everybody knows you. Everybody comes up to say what's up to you. And it's not because, again, you're the owner. It's because you talk to people. I've noticed that. I think that's gold. And again, that plays right off of what we were saying about talk to people. Okay, sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
like you know
I
how many
wanted to
times?
position that
Oh,
because I know I sit there and it happens all the time.
yeah, well, because I say like I have. So where I have the window, I see people walking by, people I don't know, and you know what I do? And I
Yeah.
tell my staff this: I wave to them, and they wave back, and then and they don't know who I am. The next time they go, I wave back at them. They wave back to you. But you want to know something? They walk into the salon eventually, and they're like, "Hey, there's like always a guy waving at me. Like, what's his name?" And oh, you know what? And this is where we feed off each other, and it's simple because that's sometimes. Like I said, you can tell your staff or you can tell whoever you're working for, this works. And they can be like, yeah, he's just saying that until you prove it. Like you have to stand behind your word, especially in business. You want to sound like shit, you're going to be treated like shit. But when you want to sound like, look, this works, trust me, it works because a key of why I say hi to everybody in the salon and is not because again, for me,
Hold on, you cut out if you can hear me.
don't just walk by. I could hear you.
Marco. Yeah,
Am I
sorry.
back?
Start again from the
Yeah.
from the part of why you say hi to everybody.
Why I say have a hi to everybody is because I try to show my staff as an example. I said, listen,
Yeah.
instead of you sitting there when you're not busy or walking by someone else's client, talk to them, say hello to them, understand when the right time is to talk to them, when not the right time. Because when their hairdresser is on vacation or their hairdresser isn't there, who do you think they're going to be comfortable seeing? The person that doesn't say hi or the person that gives them chit chat? So I always say, when I was going back from before, when you're in a room, talk to everybody. When I mean talk to everybody, it doesn't mean you got to tell them your whole life. Just say, hey, what's up, man? How's it going? Yeah, my name's Marco. Yeah, what do you do? Oh, perfect. It works. It's simple. It works. And
Buddy,
and
I, I do the
and
same
you
thing
know
when I
what?
walk in your place, though. Right? Like
You
I'll do the
do.
same thing. People are sitting there. I don't know how these people, but I go say what's up to all the guy, like everybody that's working with you. I go say what's up. I see everybody. Hey, what's going on? Next thing you know, I'm making chit chat with random people that are clients of yours that I've never met in my life. Why? Because they see me coming with a smile. I say hello. I'm not shy to talk. I'll talk from your front door to like the back over there and talk to you, but we have fun. So people think, hey, fun, have some fun with them. Next thing you know, you're
Yeah.
into networking with a whole bunch of new people.
And I think
It's
it's
too
huge. And
simple.
I also think like, a lot of people in and at the same time. So what I mean by that is like, you'll have your Christmas specials. Everybody's got Christmas specials, Valentine specials, and these customers that are buying this stuff are getting bombarded by all this stuff everywhere they go. So it's the point. It's not like, oh shit, here comes another Valentine's. So this is why I like doing a lot of my giveaways, a lot of my things during months like now, February. We're doing a massive one right now, and it's something that no other salon's ever done.
I wanted to ask you, I wanted to bring that up and say, first off, just before getting into that like specific promotion, we talk about the importance of relationship. Okay. The importance of networking. And again, I say to everybody tuned in right now, my ongoing audience, and those of you that are brand new, I thank you. I thank you all. Marco is running his business. He's in a world of connecting with individuals, and he's telling us that, and whether you listening and tuned in right now are in, being a hairstylist, owning a salon, whether you own a business, whether you're a realtor, whether you're a mortgage broker, whether you sell apples or widgets or TVs or cars, whatever you sell, end of the day, it's always about the relationships. That's the number one right there. That's where everybody gets their business from. Now, with that, the question becomes, Mark, beyond the relationship, in terms of other marketing, and beyond what you guys do in your environment, which I think you're the best at, how do you focus on bringing more people in? Like, what are some of those key marketing strategies? You talked about social media off the top. We've talked about relationships. We've talked about the fact, and I want to come back to in a moment about the TV and the podcast and stuff. But what else have you implemented to grow the business? Or would you say, Dave, this is a relationship business? That's where my focus is.
I think it's both. I think the relationship business is massive because when I do have these deals and these giveaways, my clients trust me so much. They realize, holy crap, I am getting a deal. This is the time to do it. So it's for my clients, like, especially with us, because we really, really appreciate where they've brought us today. So when I do these deals, it's like, listen, you ain't going to find this cheaper. You ain't going to go anywhere. I'm telling you right now, this is the deal. And you know what? Sometimes the deal that I think is going to last a month, I sell out in a week because they know I don't do that. Right. And like, for instance, like this one that we just did now, this is new for me because again, remember I was telling you about like, remember I was telling you about not following the curve so much. So if you ever see on Instagram, all these like giveaways, like, oh, we're giving away this, hashtag me, follow me this, and follow me that. So that a person can go on there and say, wow, they got 11,000 followers. Wow, but does those followers put money into your pocket? That's one thing. Does those followers bring people into your business? So the plan I came up with this time around was, okay, let's do something where no other salon, and when I mean this, no other salon in Canada has done this. We decided to do a 12-week to spring. Every week, you're going to get a $50 gift basket. And at the end of it all, we're giving away a $1,000 air travel voucher with Air Canada. Now, what I mean, no other salon has done this. No other salon has done this. And how do I get people in? So I worked on 3 avenues. I'm like, 1, you got to spend more than $100 of service to my salon. 2, you got to spend more than $50 or more in product. Now, just that alone. Let's say a simple thing like your mother. She doesn't necessarily come to my salon, but maybe she might need shampoo and say, hey, you know what? I want to be part of this deal because I heard from Dave that his hairdresser is doing this deal. Maybe I'm going to buy my next set over there. That brings the person into the salon. And when that person comes into the salon and they say, whoa, what is this? I've never seen this. Look at the vibe I get in here. They might come and say, you know what? I actually want to book a blow dry and see this place. It's the media, because I told you, I also find that's important. Is where you get another entry by you actually posting on your social media what we're doing by tagging us. So like that, you're actually doing the work for me. And on that thing, you get something out of it. I get something out of it. And this is how we can get more followers. And I only figured that out after collabing with someone on our last giveaway, that I collabed with this woman and she had tons of followers and it worked like a charm. And I said, wow, look at the collaboration. And that's what something I think people need to do more and more. It doesn't matter what industry you're at, is collabing with people instead of trying to chop them down. Because the more when you got 5 people, you got 5 fingers, that becomes a fist. You're going to hurt more by punching someone than stabbing them in the eye like that, right? So, in every industry, you should do that. I never heard
that analogy. I like that one.
Well, you got to think of it, man. Like, instead of you're out there, telling people the right way, and it's just a matter of saying, hey, wait a second, like I know it works because the guys I've sent you, they're proof that it works and it's still there. So like in my head, I'm thinking to myself, when I hear, you got to remember, I have a lot of different industry people sitting in my chair, and I have a ton of real estate agents. And right now,
that's
all the
what I
real
keep
estate
trying
agents,
to tell people though. Like your network is your gold mine. You just got to mine that shit. And if people are not taking advantage of the relationship that they have with the individual who cuts their hair, you are missing a massive opportunity because you guys talk to everybody. You see
because they would
everybody.
never,
Everybody's got to cut their hair.
but who would think? Who would think, you know what, maybe my hairdresser is going to help me out? Nobody. You have to like, and that's the thing. You broke that ice a long time ago. You're like, wait a second, this guy knows everybody. I'm not saying that. I mean, he's like, this guy meets everybody. Everybody needs something. Everybody's going to sell something sometime. It's that simple. But the thing is, like when I hear, like especially like agents now, where they'll sit in my chair and right now they're all dead, they're crying, and it's like, wait a second. Instead of being dead and crying, spend some money right now where you're not so busy and figure out how your new marketing is going to happen for 2023 instead of just sitting there waiting for your next house to sell. So it's like, call this guy because he knows the plan. Because you have to be productive during those dead times. So right now, what I mean by that, where it collides with my world, is right now I'm putting one of the biggest promotions on because who the hell in any industry right now is giving a deal? Do you know anybody giving deals right now? It's February. Now's the time you want to hit up the deals, right? Because on your least busiest time is when you should be most productive because with marketing, because when you are very busy, you have no time to market. So right now is the time when you're dead in your industry is when you should go hard on marketing. And yes, you're probably trying to hold back that $1,000 or $5,000 you have because you're like, I don't know if it's going to be there next month. If you don't know it's going to be there next month, then stop doing what you're doing now and start working somewhere else. You should forecast everything that's happening. So you should know, wait a second, I'll spend this $5,000 now marketing for 2023 because I'm sure March, April, May, I know what I made last year and the following year, but now this year I spent the money on the marketing, maybe this March, and I'm going to make way more money because I actually spent money on marketing. So, I'm taking a hit right now by doing that. But you know what? In the end, I'm thinking to myself, let's see if it works. Because I'm not doing it for my salon. My thing is for my staff, right?
See, I love the idea.
Go ahead.
I literally today finished reading a book by an author named Steve Sims. He wrote one book called Blue Fishing. I just finished his book called Go for Stupid. And anybody who's following me on Instagram, check out my stories. I actually posted it up there today. You can see the exact title, see the book cover, Go for Stupid. And as you brought up the whole thing about most people right now are not doing promotions. They're not doing things to build it up because they're people are slow. We're just coming off the holiday season, whatever it is. You're doing something now that most people are not doing right now. And that's the go for stupid mentality right there. It's do it when people are not. Go and try to take that chance and make it happen. So anyways, I wanted to put a plug in there for people to listen to the book or read the book. But it plays right into what you were just talking about, Mark. And let's go back to this now, because I don't want to bring it up, but I'm going to bring it up only because I've known you for as long as I have. And me personally, and I expressed this to you personally, privately, you and I, but it was killing me. And I know you weren't the only salon, but it was killing me to watch you, my friend, have to close those doors for however long during the pandemic because of being forced to do so, not by choice, but being forced to do so. The thing that I envy so much about you is where people were closing their doors, people were going out of business. You were like the mad scientist in the back room, like toying with all these little things, tinkering and being ready for the minute you opened to actually come out bigger and stronger. And I think you even did an actual renovation and expanded the place instead of closing the place while this whole thing was going on. What was your mindset? Like, how did you stay? And look, we could bring this to just COVID. We could bring it to anything in life. We could bring it to a slow period right now. But when we talk about mindset and staying strong, what caused you to keep pushing instead of throwing in the towel?
Well, family has to be the biggest thing. You got a family, you got to do what you got to do to make that money come in or survive, right? And I just felt like there's a lot of things that we had to do because we were so busy we couldn't do them. That was the time to do them. And the money we spent, I said to my partners, I was like, look, we got to make people feel that when they walk in here, that they're more comfortable coming in here. Like I never liked wearing a mask, for instance, but I had to put one on at the time because I'm like, look,
Yep.
You know, some people are coming in saying, well, why are you wearing a mask? It doesn't matter. There were people that respected that. And the salon down the street or the other salon down the street the other way or salons downtown, they were kind of like, screw this. And they weren't taking it as serious as I was taking it. And it's because of that that they either lost clientele or they closed. And it's because people felt extremely comfortable coming into my place. And that was the biggest thing for me. I said to my brothers, we have to spend money right now to make sure people, when they come in here, they go home and they tell their family or whoever, oh no, the salon, these guys got it covered. They spray, they like buddy, I spent so much money on the washing. I think you were there. You can't touch anything. Like it was
Yep.
it was a headache for me, man. And you know what? I sprayed my chairs so much that right now I have to replace about 10 of them because the leather's ripped off completely because of the sanitizing spray. And still today, you know, we try to follow some rules, but like we never got that money back. We never got that $20,000 I put towards all that stuff. Now it's just sitting in the back. And it's just that simple. And you know what? I didn't know if it was going to work. I just said to myself, if I'm going somewhere, how am I going to feel comfortable? Am I going to go to this place and I'm going to get a haircut while this guy's yapping his mouth in front of me? And now I'm scared shitless of this COVID because I don't know what the hell it is. I had to transition. I had to do it the way I had to do it. And, you know, we transitioned back to like, you know, I believe now we're a little bit more in the normal sense of it all. But man, you know, and I'll tell you something. I don't know how this happened, but me doing all that, and this is again, right to networking. Someone contacted CTV for me, and next thing you know, CTV's calling me, and boom, I'm on CTV. That would have been after CTV. I can't even tell you how many owners were calling me. Hey, what did you do? Hey, how's it on the top of my world a little bit, saying, wait a second, okay, I got all these guys that have been in the industry way longer than me are calling me now for advice, which I gladly gave to them. I had no problems doing that, but that also formed good relationships between them. So, like, you know, still to today, I have really good relationships with hairstylists who still call me and, you know, they're, hey, I just found out about this new promo you're doing. Like, how the hell are you doing this? Where are you coming up with this? Do you have a marketing team? I'm like, no, I think what would help me go into your place? What makes me want to, you know, come on to your podcast, for instance? You know, I could have said no to you. I could have said, nah, Dave, I've done too many podcasts. But I know how legit you are. I know how big you're getting. And I'm thinking to myself, I need to attach to that, just like you need to attach to other things too. And that's why I tell all these guys, I'm like, look, man, if you want to get busy, especially in the real estate world, I'm like, you gotta go and do it to people who know what's going on. Like, look, you know, you do so many shows where you meet thousands and thousands of real estate people. How does that happen? It doesn't just happen because you wake up one morning and say, hey, I'm going to go sit on the stage because I want to talk to 2,000 people. You have a method, and it's whoever's smart enough to follow that method that will, in my opinion, rise to the top. It's that simple. And if someone has personally their own method that's working for them, keep it up, but share it. Don't just sit there and keep it to yourself. You know what I mean?
Well, this is the thing too, right? Yeah, I think. Look, you've won multiple awards throughout your career. I know you've been flown to different places to do crazy stuff, and you know they wanted you, and I mean personally, I get why they want you because there ain't nobody else cutting my hair either. But you've been interviewed on TV countless amount of times, and like to me, it's like it just keeps growing. It's like you're getting more and more interviews. Is your daily focus on? And I kind of know the answer to this, but I want to share this with everybody else because I think people get lost in what it really takes to grow. Even as you said, it's like, how do I get to that stage or how do I get to there? It's like, what did you do back here to get over there? And so if I ask you, like, is your daily focus on growing your brand? Is it focused on just cutting hair? What does a normal day look like for you? Or is there like no sense of even the word normal?
Yeah, like my days is it's literally like I wake up and I just start hearing the chimes of like the ding ding. I'm thinking, okay, who's sick today? Who's not sick today? What do I got to do? Who's calling me? What do I got to figure out? Like I said, it takes a lot behind the scenes, and everybody just kind of sees the front book cover and doesn't realize how many pages are inside that book. And so, like on a daily grind, I mean, as an owner, you're trying to do everything you just mentioned. You're trying to stay busy, stay relevant, come up with the next plan, see what you can do. How can you help your staff? All that stuff. But the hardest, which I'm still today learning, is when your personal shit is so strong that it really affects your work life or your, sometimes, you could just become a vegetable. And this is where you got to make sure you have the right support system behind you, because when you can't do it, you got someone there that's going to step up to the plate and handle it for you during that time. So, and that's sometimes through a friend or through a coworker or through a business partner. It's not that's just so hard. And, sometimes you got to have that ability to also step back and let them do it. You know what I mean? And that's how my daily, sometimes you see me, sometimes you come in and I'm like, I'm trying to be like, hey man, how's it going? But you've known me for so long. You're like, whoa, man, what's going on? Like right away, what's happening? And sometimes talking it through.
I gotta read like a book, bro.
Yeah, it happens. And you're like, and you talk it through. And sometimes you just by talking, maybe that person that is sitting next to you or sitting beside you or in your chair is going through the same damn thing. And you're like, wait a second. So I'm not here alone right now. Okay, that helps me get out of that funk. Now let's get into this next part. And that's how it goes. And even now, bringing your personal life to your business life. Now you're done business. Now you got to go to your personal life, but your business life is affecting your personal life. So on the way home, how many conversations I have with myself in the car saying, okay, look, you had a bad day. Don't go home and rip apart your house. Don't go home. I always tell my wife this. This is a big saying. And I follow this big time. I'm like, whenever I leave my home, the whole world is trying to beat me down. I said, when I come inside this home, if you're trying to beat me down like everybody else, then you should be outside like everybody else. I was like, when I come into my house, you have to make sure that I forget about everything. It's that simple. And that's hard, man. And I try to do the same thing with going to work, but it's really, really hard.
Well, I was going to ask you about that, right? Because you guys, and you brought it up before. I know you do a bunch of trips to Aruba. You've got your place down there. You've got a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful family. You guys, you're an incredible father. How do you find that work-life balance when it's coming to running a business? Like, how do you draw that line? Because I find what you just said interesting about that self-talk on the way home. And I'll double down on that right now and say the exact same thing. Like, and I've said it publicly before, the toughest part of my day, and it'll happen today the same way, the exact same way. I'll tell you right now, in about 2 to 3 hours from now, my day's going to go for the turn where I got to get over to hockey practice now and turn on the hockey coach mentality instead of the business coach mentality and deal with 11-year-olds instead of college professionals. Okay. And that's a tough moment because as the kids will come home from school, they want you like this. There is no filter around, they know you're working, but like, this is their home. You're their dad, right? They want you, period. They're just going to start talking. And now you got to do that thing of that division between, do I continue to work? Do I stop and give them time? But I got stuff I got to do. And that for me has got to be the most chaotic moment of my day. Yet it's the most special moment of my day because my two favorite people in the world just walked through the door. But there is that moment of anxiety where you're like, holy shit, or anxiousness where you're like, I've been go. I don't even know if I finished everything. And again, I've got a very stringent system and process to know that everything got done. And that's where we get reward and we get to breathe. But it still doesn't take away from the chaos of like transition. So how do you deal with that work-life balance in your world?
Well, that's what I mean. Nobody knows what it really takes to be successful.
Right.
And it's that simple. And you want to be successful. It's not just going to be looking at someone and saying, hey, I want to be there. It's comes down to one thing, and it's sacrifice. It's that simple. That's the key word to everything I do. I have to sacrifice sometimes, missing my son's go-karting season because I have to be at work. And I hate doing it, but it's a sacrifice I got to make. And that's the thing. A lot of people sometimes will go home and be like, oh, I'm going here. I'm going over there. I'm thinking to myself, man, I got to bring this guy over here, drop him off, bring my daughter to tutor, drop her off, bring her back to dance. And then I got to worry about the rest of my work life. And sometimes my key thing is when I sit on the dinner table. It's something I do. On the dinner table, that little 10, 15 minutes, no cell phones, no nothing. It's me, it's my family. And I'm, my kids, they want to always with their iPad on, and I get those iPads off the table. They can have it for breakfast or lunch. I don't care. When it comes to dinner, it's just got to be that like moment. Even if you're not talking about anything, it's just you settle down. But man, that's a daily struggle. That's a daily struggle, and I'm sure it's never going to stop because it's just that simple, man. You gotta. That's when two worlds collide, And how are you going to
Yes,
handle those
that's right.
words?
Yeah. Very well said. Right. But it's true though, right? I mean, and I think that everybody's got to find us in those little moments right there because you're right. Dinner doesn't last 3 hours. Dinner with the family might be 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Those are the moments. I know for me, before Joshua and Leah leave for school in the morning, I make sure that I stop what I was doing because I'm up, I'm already going. I stop what I'm doing and I spend about 15 minutes with them on the couch. And I got my daughter here and I got my son there, cuddled up just like that. And that's literally how we start kind of that day. Just before they take off to school, I'm hanging with my kids. And it is the most
Yeah.
precious, precious moment of my day. Now, as we talk about the day and we talk about success, how do you know at the end of your day that it's been a successful day for you?
How do I know by the end of my day that it's been a successful day? I would have to say I can close my eyes and wake up. I can close my eyes at 10 o'clock and wake up at 7 o'clock without waking up 16 times in between that time. That's how I know it's successful to me. Because
Which probably
when
means the
I
mind is a little bit more at ease.
it's the only time I know the day happened. You wake up in the morning and I swear to God, I'm grateful for every time I wake up in the morning. But it's just like, the morning is where it's scariest because you're like, what's gonna happen today? Where do I gotta be today? And how is everything gonna drop on a dime? It's that. So when I'm at night and I'm putting myself to sleep, I'm saying to myself, okay, today was done. The next day. And like again, man, it's always, man, you just got to be grateful. It's hard though. It's really hard. You want to be grateful, but like I said, man, when you're at one place and you said yourself 10 years ago that 30-year-old me is going to be at 40 years old, it has to be at a certain place and you're there and once you're there, instead of being satisfied where you're at, you're like, wait a second, 40-year-old me at 50-year-old, I have to be another place there. And you got to have the right people around you to ground you and say, buddy, sit back for a second. Look what you got. Like, be happy. But guys like us, entrepreneurs, it's that simple. It's in our blood, and we're never going to be happy with what we have. We're going to be satisfied, but we ain't never going to be happy. I'm sorry. You're going to chase that goal, and you're going to keep chasing it until you're dead. It's that simple.
Love that, bro.
Like,
It's funny. I asked that question about how do you know it's been a successful day for you? I ask that question at the end of every show. And, you know, nobody ever brings up how much money they made. So I love your answer as well. I took from that a clearer mind, that things ran smooth, you accomplished today, valuing those moments in life. I mean, I think people have lost complete track, especially because of, again, the social medias and the access to information about the importances of in life. All that's being said, Mark, final words, anything that you can share with, anybody, just any final words that you want to put out there for everybody, to help them build some mind share so they can, get more market share, things they can do to maybe just calm their mind. Just some final words for everybody here.
I would say personally, use the tools you have given to you through whatever it is. But I think the strongest tool out there, and you have to really focus more on this than social media and everything else, is the power of your gap, the power of people have to know your personality and what you've experienced. And by the only way of doing that is by talking to them. You go on Instagram, Instagram's a big fucking lie. And when I'll say a story, what I mean by that, I brought my kids out hiking and the whole fucking hike, they're crying and carrying me. Wow, man. I'm like, why did we even come hiking? My wife takes this picture of us all smiling and we put this on Instagram and everybody thinks I had the best day ever. And it was bullshit. So Instagram's, like, you know what I mean? People got to take a grain with a
What an
salt,
example.
with grain.
That is so well said, bro.
Because everyone thinks it's like, that's, oh, look at his life. He's always happy. No, don't just follow what social media. And this is why I think being personal with somebody, picking up the phone and calling them, just say, hey, what's going on? How you doing? That to me is the strongest tool. So if I had to give any advice to anybody, it's not a matter of just texting someone hello. Just give them a call. I have best friends that I swear to God, I call them and say, hey, how's it going, man? Hope you have a great day. Love you. I'll talk to you later. Boom, hang up. And we do that all the time. And we keep in touch like that. So the next time when we meet each other, we're like this. We understand where we are. So that's my thing. You got to really, really stop with the like robotic things in life that we have, the tools we have necessarily, not to say not to use them, but you really got to start being more personal with people because everyone lost the gift of the gap. It's that simple. Everything is now through texting and emailing and all this shit. And it's like, I don't even know your voice. Like, let me hear you, because you could tell a lot from a person if you want to trust them or not, right? So that's my biggest thing if I had to say. Start yapping more. That's it.
Love that, bro. I love that, buddy.
Thanks, man.
For everybody
Appreciate
tuned
having
in,
us.
check them. Hey.
Said appreciate you having me on, man. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely, my man. Listen, for everybody tuned in, make sure you check them out. Although you just heard him loud and clear about the whole Instagram play. That said, we did talk about the fact that there's a networking opportunity there. There's an opportunity to learn. There's an opportunity to see. Fratelli Salon on Instagram. Make sure you check these guys out. If you are looking to get your haircut, I'm going to stand by and be the absolute biggest supporter of this guy and his entire shop and the entire crew over there. You know, my son sees somebody else over there. I've got friends that go see other people over there. Marco's my guy. The entire crew from top to bottom, brother. You have built a just an incredible environment to come and get your haircut and to take care of some of those other things that you guys offer as the many services you do. So I just want to throw it out there to everybody. This guy's got my 1,000,000% stamp of approval. And I throw it out there to everybody else to say, you know, if you're in Thornhill, make sure you go check them out on Yonge Street. Not hard to find, even if it's just to stop by and have a coffee with them. But Marco, once again, my brother, a massive thank you for taking the time to join us on the MindShare podcast today, bro. Thank you.
Thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate it.
You're either listening to this on one of your favorite podcast platforms, or maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to download your free copy of the Ultimate Marketing Bundle, our 31-page ebook, including your free 90-day social media content counter to help you build more mindshare so that you get more market share. A reminder as well that if you want to talk about personalized one-to-one coaching, an in-person keynote talk for your upcoming event, and or ongoing virtual training, just get in touch with me. We'll set up a free consultation call, learn more about what you're looking to achieve, and how we will help you do just that. Don't forget to leave a review at www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. If you're on an iPhone, it'll connect you to iTunes. If you're on an Android, it'll get you to Spotify. And of course, there's a whole bunch of other options there. Just go to ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Big 5 stars, nice little review, and a massive thank you. Also, connect with me on Facebook at Mindshare101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to thank Kits Keep in Touch Systems, Gray Media, and REM Magazine for sponsoring the Mindshare podcast. Be sure to visit our site to learn more about what these powerful companies will do to help you grow your business. This has been another episode of the Mindshare podcast. Thank you for tuning in.